The article, A Tale of Two Schools, talks about connections being made between high school students in New York. One of the schools is from a poor background, not a lot of funding, and the other school is like a rich school. The students from the poor background travel to the rich neighborhood, which is not even very far from them, and they spend time over there for a day, and they're exploring radical empathy. So the experiment is they partner up and they talk about personal narratives, and they have to, at the end later, they have to tell the story and embody who their partner is. Personally, I would say that I don't think that the exercise worked. I would say that it was supposed to be a reflection on radical empathy, but it's hard to grasp empathy when you're just putting it in quotes or when you're reading it on paper rather than seeing it verbatim and clearly. I would say that the full empathetic process was not completed. I think that the recognition and the convergence was completed, but not the adoption. And by that I mean, I think that the students understood the feelings of the other students they were talking, their partner, when they were explaining the stories. But I think it stopped when they probably just asked themselves, how would I feel if I were in the situation? And by not adapting or adopting to the other person, you're not understanding the character of someone else. You're putting your feelings before them, and you're putting your experiences before them. So you're not actually becoming one, and you're not taking them on as their own, as one. For example, I guess I could say that there's a difference between sympathy and empathy. So there's a difference between feeling bad for someone and feeling the actual feelings and emotions that they're feeling and the experience that they're going through. There's a total difference. As for the second part of the assignment, this one I enjoyed a lot more than the article. So in Anna Smith's performance, Notes from the Field, she embodies different non-fictional characters, and she tells their personal narratives, and each of which they're coming from different backgrounds, different races, and different ages. The stories told in each performance, they touch on racial injustice, police brutality, the American prison system, and youth struggles. To me, it's obvious that Anna practiced ethnography when she was rehearsing and taking an account of each person she was going to be portraying. I can tell she tried to understand like the cultural background of Black church culture. For instance, when she was portraying the preacher, the inflection that she used in her voice and the mannerisms and the hand gestures proved that she was trying to understand the Black culture. One performance that really stood out to me really made me realize that she went through the whole empathetic progress. She really adopted everything. And this was the instance where she was portraying a woman that was incarcerated. The inmate actually told the story she says that her partner at the time, her boyfriend, shot and killed a man that was trying to rape and kill her. She unfortunately was sentenced. She was charged with a murder charge. And when Anna was portraying her, the look that she gave in her eyes was very distinct. And that was when I really was locked in, because her eyes was starting to water. No tears fell though. So I felt like I saw in her eyes, I felt pain, but also acceptance. I didn't feel any sort of, you would think you'd feel kind of like a pity or a self-pity for yourself. And she did not at all, which is important, because it makes you see how complex the emotions are. So that makes me feel that Anna really portrayed the whole process, a whole empathetic process. Because here's this person, she has been through all this, but she knows where she is, and she's accepted it. There's pain, but she has no pity for herself, which is really interesting. I would also say, that this activity, it was really good to put everything in perspective, because now we actually see everything that we read about, and we see it in action. I know now that I prefer way more to see someone perform live rather than hearing about a performance on paper just with quotes. There's not the same connection. I would also say that Anna, when she performed, it was more like an art. You know, when people are, I'm sure the people who she was interviewing, they don't think of their stories as being like a theatrical production, which she made it into. They don't think of it as art. To them, it's just another day, and they're just telling you about their day or about something that happened in the past. But the way that she tells it and she performs it in a play and organizes it all, it feels more like a production, and it feels heartfelt, and even feels like there's rhythm and there's style to the performance, and even kind of like a spoken word aspect, like a poetry, is really creative. What else can I say? Yes, so basically that's what I would, in conclusion, I would say that the performance, the play, is way more impactful than just reading an article about how people try to do the same thing. Because personally, I can't tell from reading the quotes, from teenagers. They could have done an amazing job, and like they could have been empathetic and everything, but I can't tell just by reading an article. But I can tell when someone's performing it and putting all this effort in, and I see everything in their face, and I see it in their eyes.